an important thing. Wendy, please come up. We want to honor Wendy for the many years she's given to the Chamber. I can't think of anybody that's been more dedicated to this community and supporting us, supporting the Chamber. We're so happy she's here with us tonight, and we want you to have, there's a gift certificate here to Biscotti's for you and Brian to enjoy a nice dinner. Thank you.
We will now conduct the annual business meeting of the membership of the Conneaut Area Chamber of Commerce. First item of business is the election of the Board of Directors. Each director shall be elected for a 2-year term commencing January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2020. If you look in your tables, the ballot should be on the tables for everybody. The slate of candidates include Gabe Cellini, Robbie Dean, Jim Hockaday, Tim Kraus, Jeff Raisin, Tony Rose, Lori Stevens, Dr. Elena Williams, Kathy Zapatello. 5 of the candidates have been serving on the Board of Directors. 4 of the candidates will begin their term upon approval of the membership at this meeting. Each member, business, organization, or partnership is allowed 1 vote. If more than 1 person from your company is present tonight, designate 1 person to complete the ballot. Leave the completed ballot on the table, please. At this time, I would like to ask Jim Hockaday to come forward to speak on the bylaw changes.
Thank you. Now for the reason everybody's here tonight, to discuss the bylaws. So the bylaws committee meets on an ongoing basis throughout the year. Last year we had fairly significant revisions to the bylaws. This year we are recommending two changes to the entire membership. The first change is under Section 2, Board of Directors. And we are suggesting adding the following item, and that is each director shall be a chamber member investor in good standing, either through an association with a company or organization as they work for or are as an associate chamber member. So essentially, in order to remain on the board of directors, you have to pay your dues. Should you have a you're like myself, and obviously the city of Conneaut as a member, if I were no longer with the city of Conneaut, I could no longer serve in that capacity, would be the example. So that's a relatively simple and straightforward change. The second change that is being represented, and I believe Jeff will give you the opportunity to vote on each separately, is the elimination of an entire section under committees. It would be section 4E of the bylaws. That section presently reads, the nominating committee shall be responsible for receiving and accepting nominations for all yearly chamber awards, including but not limited to Chamber Champions and Citizen of the Year. For the Chamber Champions Awards, the nominating committee shall select the winners in each category, then submit the award winners for the board for final approval. For the Citizen of the Year Award, the nominating committee shall select no more than 3 persons to appear for selection for the ballot, and then the ballot will be presented to the past presidents and past Citizens of the Year for voting. The executive director shall then tally the votes and select the Citizen of the Year to be presented at the annual meeting. Nominations may be given by any person in the community. The board feels that it should not be the nominating committee's position to whittle that down to 3. We believe that there is significant competence and due diligence done by the past presidents as well as the previous award winners to review and make those selections and via a ballot. So the narrowing by the board really is an unnecessary step. It is also a procedure described in bylaw rather than a policy. So that elimination would give more authority then to people to nominate, as well as those past presidents and past chamber winners to make that selection Both of these recommendations are relatively minor in the entire scope of the bylaw changes. So I think that wraps it up, and I'll let Jeffrey handle the procedural portion.
Thank you, Jim. Next item of business is to approve the changes to the chamber bylaws. I'd like to thank first the bylaws committee for working on revising of the bylaws. As designated in the bylaws, a majority vote of the members in attendance at the annual meeting is needed to amend the bylaw. At this time, could I have a motion to approve the proposed amendment to the first amendment, members being in good standing? Could I have a motion to amend this bylaw, please?
I so move.
Second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Secondly, if I could have a motion to approve the amendment where the nominating committee pre-selection process will be removed from the bylaws. If I could have a motion for that, please. Second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Thank you. The bylaws stand approved. If there's no further business to bring before the membership, we will close the annual business meeting. Jade, would you like to come forward and introduce our keynote speaker?
Our keynote speaker tonight is Greg.
Jade, thank you very much. Jeff, thank you for the invitation. And thanks to all the other board members for having me out here tonight. It's really fun for me to be here, and most of you may know, or some of you may not, that I'm from Conneaut. So this is a homecoming for me of sorts, and it's really refreshing. I have family in the room. I have longtime friends in the room. So all of you, those that I just named, can please stay quiet, right? I'm a new person today. My past does not define me. Right? It's about what we're doing going forward. I noticed on the back of the program it said thank you for my lively and enthusiastic speech, so I'm going to really amp up some energy here. Right? We're not talking about bylaws anymore. We're going to kind of bring it down and talk about...
As Jim said, we're going to talk about bylaws.
No, I'm not going to talk about bylaws. But I do want to talk about this community. And I think an appropriate thing to do right now, since we're in this community, we want to talk about sort of strengths and unique things, is whenever you're in a room that's full of Marco Vineyard wine, you must raise a glass for a toast. So please join me, all right? I want to offer a toast to all of you for your hard work and the dedication you give to this community, right? This is, in this room right here, this is what makes communities vibrant. This is what makes communities have opportunity. This is what makes communities successful. So thank you to all of you for your hard work.
Cheers.
All right. I really just needed a drink, so. What I wanted to talk about a little bit is my background and experiences in economic development site selection. So I spent 20 plus years, yes, I know it doesn't look that way, but I have 20 plus years doing site selection and economic development work nationally. And through that time, I've had the opportunity to actually learn a few lessons along the way. And so what I thought I'd start out with, before I talk a little bit about the direction that the Growth Partnership is going in and how that relates to what you're doing at the local level, I thought I'd share a couple insights from those lessons learned along the way. And the first one I wanted to share with you is that economic development, and really any development, requires teamwork. Right? Without teamwork and without working together, forming strong partnerships, you can't do the heavy lifting that needs to be done every day in order to be successful. And one of the things that I've noticed, I've been back in the county now for about a year in this position, is that the opportunity for teamwork has been tremendous. And so I wanted to take just a quick minute and point out some of the folks, just to give you a representative example of those in this room that we've partnered with on some very critical projects. So City of Conneaut we've worked with Mr. Hockaday. We've worked with, I think I saw Dr. Brockway at ATEC back here, county commissioners, county auditor. Let's see, Superintendent Riley, thank you very much. Others in this room, forgive me if I missed you, but there has been a tremendous opportunity in this past year. Trevor, at the Y, we worked together. Not the exclusion of anyone, but I just wanted to point that out because in that year, that synergy that you build from that teamwork really allows us to do some pretty significant things. And it's really important that we don't lose focus on coming together and working together and using our collective strengths to get our work done. One of the other things that I've learned is that you have to take care of your existing customers. Like you, as a chamber, you're working with your existing members and you're trying to grow your existing member base. In economic development, it's important for us to make sure that we're focused on making sure that our existing businesses are taken care of in a way that allows them to succeed, to create economic opportunity, to grow, and to help our communities prosper. So it's very important for us to not lose focus that base is our best way of advancing economic opportunity. It's much harder to bring new business into town than it is to help grow existing business. So stay focused on your existing customer base. The other thing I'd want to point out is leverage our core strengths. Right, I had an opportunity just before this event to come in, and I stopped quickly at the bluffs and looked out over the lakefront. I mean, this community has one of the most fantastic lakefronts on anywhere in the Great Lakes. And oftentimes, when I lived here, right, you lose focus on that sometimes. It's right here in your backyard. But whether it's the lakefront, whether it's the people, whether it's your wild and scenic river, whether it's your businesses that are here, those core strengths, build upon those, leverage those unique assets that are yours. The other thing I'd want to focus on is making sure that we're eliminating or minimizing any weaknesses. Know what your weaknesses are, don't dwell on them, but work diligently to make sure that you're eliminating those barriers or at least knocking them down as low as you can. Oftentimes you can turn weaknesses into opportunities, and that's really the end game. The others have a vision and have a plan. Right? We don't want to go about our work haphazardly. We want to collectively come together and have a plan that we're focused on and use that teamwork in executing that plan. That's extremely important. I see a few of my fellow leadership members. So I mentioned I've been back in the county for a year. I've had the distinct privilege to be part of the adult leadership class for Ashtabula County, and many of my classmates are here. One of the things that we've done in the class is we read a book recently, and it was called Make Your Bed. It was written by a Rear Admiral in the Navy, and it really came out of a commencement speech that he gave to his alma mater at the University of Texas. He was a Navy SEAL, and he brought little pieces of wisdom through his work in the Navy. And the first thing he said, the first line in the book that says, if you want to change the world, make your bed. Right, that sounds simple, and it sounds kind of hokey if you think about it. What does that have to do with changing the world? But the point is that each day you wake up, you make your bed. That's one small accomplishment that you're done with. You look back, I've completed that, I can move on to something else. Economic development is the same way, right? You build off of small wins, and those build a foundation for pursuing your big challenges and pursuing your big opportunities. And they build the foundation for which you can succeed on. And so I think that's critically important. That's the message I took out of that, is that we focus on building that foundation. And no win or no success is too small for us to get done, accomplish, and celebrate. I talked a little bit about, I do presentations like this every once in a while, and sort of building off that theme of doing something small. People were talking about one of the members, which is Sparky's, is the new business restaurant down here. I think back in my day, it was Gary's Deli. I'm dating myself a little bit there with that. But that's a good example when you're doing little things. So when you're doing things to create a quality of atmosphere, if I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the investors in that business were not from here, but came into town, right? So what you never know is you never know who's in your backyard. You never know who's here and who can create opportunity. So always do those little things to continue to improve. whether that's picking up garbage that's on the street as you're walking by, or whether that's working diligently to help local businesses with signage improvements, housing improvements, whatever that is. You never know who's going to be in your backyard and could create an opportunity for you. So that's where those little building blocks come into play, and I thought that was a good example here. Be unified. What I've learned is this works off of teamwork, but we have to be unified organizationally, and sometimes that's really difficult to do. As organizations, whether we're the Growth Partnership, or whether we're a local chamber, or whether we're a port authority, or any other entity that's involved in development, we can tend to all be kind of chasing the same game. When it comes to funding, sometimes we can be chasing the same funding sources. And that's all well and good, except that we have to remember that if we stay unified, rather than getting into a tug of war, which gets us nowhere, it doesn't allow either organization to move forward. If we unify, we build our collective strengths towards one goal and pull together, we'll accomplish so much more if we do that. And the last thing I would say through my lessons through the 25 or so years of work in this industry is that don't quit. Economic development is a long-term game, right? It's a marathon. It takes time. Oftentimes, it's easy during that process to start to lose focus, lose energy, lose the tenacity that it takes to do the work. And what I would say to you is don't quit and don't give up. Whatever you need to do to refresh and get refocused on your work, do that, because it's going to be important to you and your long-term ability to succeed. So those are the foundational blocks I wanted to sort of leave with you as I go into just talking a little bit about what we're doing at the Growth Partnership. And I thought that was important because each day that we're doing our work, we kind of keep those pieces in the back of our mind. So our core work is centered around business retention and expansion. Again, working with our existing businesses to help them grow. Business attraction is our other key focus, so working with outside investors, businesses to come into the county and create economic opportunity. The other is workforce development. When we talk about having the infrastructure and the resources that we need, the human infrastructure, human capital is critical for our ability to succeed. We can have all the roads and rail and buildings that we want, but if we don't have the workers that companies need, it's all for naught. And the last is marketing, and I think that's really critical. I talk about marketing in the sense of formal marketing, promoting organizations, events, but also informal marketing. So the dinner table talk that all of you have around your homes at night, around the dinner table at Thanksgiving, we want to make sure that we're getting a message out there, one that's positive and one that reflects the reality of what's happening around the community. Because sometimes, I'm from this area, sometimes that discussion can get down, right? But there's so much opportunity here that I don't know that we collectively as a community do a good enough job of promoting. And I really want to make sure that what we're doing is getting the message out around that. So on the business retention and expansion side, right, we are tackling really infrastructure challenges that have prohibited our ability to grow. And the biggest one that all of you are probably familiar with and maybe have read about is our lack of natural gas in the county. So for 2-3 decades, we've lacked the natural gas molecules necessary for our existing industries to grow, create new jobs, make it taxable investment that comes to the local community. And it's definitely limited our ability to bring in new economic opportunities. Conneaut, unfortunately, has been on the negative side of that on a couple of occasions. And I don't point that out to be a downer, but just to be a reality, right? That has been a challenge for this particular community. And what I can say is that the teamwork that I've seen over the last year with the help of the Conneaut schools, Conneaut City, Buckeye schools, we were able to push forward with that partnership an opportunity to have an interstate gas pipeline come from western Pennsylvania into Asheville County. That's huge because it now creates an elimination of an infrastructure barrier that we had for 30 plus years. We will now have the capacity to allow General Aluminum to grow, to allow our other industries here in town, here in the county, to be able to grow, to make investment that creates taxable dollars and economic opportunities, employment opportunities for our local residents. So that's a big one. So thank you to all of you who partnered with us in that effort. What do I have, 20 minutes? I can get going here, so I got 2 pages. I got to shorten things up. On the existing business side, we've done about 70 visits in 2017. So that's one-on-one visits where I'm out and my colleagues at the Growth Partnership are out meeting face-to-face. Many of you we've met with. So far this year, we've done 10 to 15 visits. That's key because that allows us to understand on the ground what our local companies are facing in terms of opportunities and in terms of challenges. And then we can develop strategies to hopefully help them advance opportunities. So right now, out of those efforts, we're working on 6 expansion projects throughout the county, including opportunities here in Conneaut. So those are tremendous opportunities for us, again, to continue to advance economic well-being that trickles down to many of the members here in this room. On the attraction side, I talked about the natural gas pipeline. We're working now on 3 active business attraction projects that, if we would win them, and I say if because we still have a ways to go, would mean hundreds of millions of dollars in new investment, taxable investment in this county, and hundreds of new jobs. That opportunity to pursue those would not have happened without the partnership to advance the gas pipeline. Right? That's why that teamwork and those partnerships are absolutely critical. So those are exciting opportunities for us as we go forward into the future. One of the things that I want to talk about economic opportunity, that sometimes when you talk at the local level, you say, well, yeah, that project isn't going to happen in my backyard, right? Yeah, that's true. Some projects may not happen right here in Conneaut. But if a project expansion happens in Ashtabula, happens in Geneva, happens in Orwell, that doesn't mean that economic opportunity doesn't come back to this community. And I want to give one example. On an outreach visit yesterday, I was meeting with Signature Health, which is based in Ashtabula. They recently were pursuing a professional healthcare provider to come into the community. They interviewed this person. They were in the Cleveland area. Person accepted the job, came into town and said, you know, I'm going to move here. Guess where they ended up? Right here in your fine community. They located in Conneaut, Ohio, right? They located here, I presume, because of what they saw in terms of the community and what they believed the quality of life that they could lead. So that's a tremendous opportunity because now you're bringing in a household income of probably between $70,000 and $100,000 a year, right? They bought a house, they'll buy cars, they'll buy gas, they'll buy groceries, they'll need insurance, they'll need all of these things that create economic opportunity here. So when we look at development, a rising tide in my mind lifts all boats. So when we talk about teamwork, we have to think collectively because if some opportunity happens in Conneaut, it's going to mean benefits to the surrounding community and vice versa. So I think that's critically important. A few kind of closing thoughts. Think regionally, right? Think globally. Think big. Think not just our community, but our collective community as a county and our collective community as a region. If we're all successful, that success will come back to us locally. So think regionally. Form meaningful partnerships. Don't just form partnerships for the sake of saying, yes, we work together. Find out where you can add value, to other organizations and get engaged, right? Get engaged with that organization and contribute what you can to help them achieve their goals. And they'll, in kind, do the same for you. Celebrate who we are. Don't shy away. Yes, it's cold here in the wintertime. I get that. That's all right. 3 seasons, it's beautiful here, right? Spring, summer, and fall, it's gorgeous. It's winter today, and it was a gorgeous day, right? So we are who we are. We can't change that. Celebrate that. Find those things that make us unique and embrace that. Believe in our ability to succeed. I can't state that enough, right? We can be whoever we want to be. Have a vision for that and pursue it with vigor. Work tirelessly to pursue opportunities, eliminate barriers. Again, don't give up. And the last thing, you guys are getting pretty quiet out there. So it's either I'm lulling you to sleep, I didn't have the energy that I said I was going to bring. Make your beds. Right? Make your beds. It may lead to big changes. So thank you very much for having me here. Hopefully I wasn't too far off of time to push us back, but thank you very much. It's been
Wasn't the food wonderful? Congratulations, too. And wasn't the dessert wonderful? And wasn't the wine wonderful? As we make this transition into presenting our chamber honorees, we want to remember somebody who has been an important part of us that is not with us anymore. Pam Stump passed away this past year. She was a member of the Chamber Board of Directors and an active business person who worked so hard for this community. She was one of our greatest cheerleaders for Conneaut. And I wonder if we could just spend a moment of silence in her honor. Can we do that? Let's do it. All right, thank you. Pam, we love you and we miss you. The Chamber has had such wonderful leadership, and we are going to honor 2 past presidents this year to kind of get caught up. And I have the privilege of presenting the recognition of past president to Chupi Holson. I've often said that Chupi is the one who is the glue that keeps everything together in UH Conneaut Medical Center, and now also at UH Geneva Medical Center. She is such a wonderful representative of University Hospitals in the Chamber, but she is a tireless worker in the Chamber of Commerce. And when she served as president, she was one of the best presidents we've had. And so, Chupi, come on up. We want to honor you. I need someone to help me get the plaque or whatever it is that we're going to give her. Probably Chupi knows more what it is. She probably set it up because she was part of the committee that set all this up. Chupi, on behalf of a grateful Chamber of Commerce board, we want to present this to you. Thank you so much for your wonderful leadership and service.
Hard act to follow, but I'm going to present Carol Trennan with an award tonight as well. Carol, thank you for this past year. You've done a great job. You did a great job in helping with this dinner tonight, and I appreciate everything you've done. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to say one of the reasons we're doing 2 this year is this is my last year on the board. A lot of times the president is on for several years, but I'm actually an ex officio this year, so I won't be on the board next year. So that's why we went ahead with the 2 awards this year. Thank you.
Before we get to the Chamber Champion Awards, I need to address some proclamations real quick that John Patterson could not be with us tonight, but he sent a letter, so I'd like to read it. On behalf of Speaker Rosenberger and the entire Ohio House of Representatives, I wish to congratulate those who have been selected for their excellence serving Conneaut and the surrounding area. On this special evening, though physically I am in Columbus, my heart and soul are to be found with you in the sharpest corner of the state. Representative John Patterson. He had provided proclamations for all the winners tonight. Along with him, we had Representative David Joyce, who had given us proclamations for all winners. And tonight we have Commissioner Whittingham with us. And on behalf of the county commissioners, she has awarded proclamations as well to all our winners. So I just wanted to make that clear before we get to the awards. So Jade, if you'd like to come up now.
Okay, and presenting the Leadership Award is Robbie Dean. If you could come up, please.
The Leadership Award is presented to a business or industry or individual with outstanding achievements in economic development, job creation, enterprise growth, or startup entrepreneurship. This year's recipient is Roberto Montez, owner of Conneaut. And he wanted to let everybody know, tonight is margarita night, so come on up that way right there.
All I'm going to say is thank you, everybody. Thank you for supporting me.
And our next award is the Professional Achievement Award, and that's being presented by Kathy Zappatello.
I usually don't write my speeches out, but I did because I thought that I would wander a lot. There's a lot to say. The Professional Achievement Award is presented to a business or individual who has demonstrated a superb record of distinguished career accomplishments and who has made outstanding contributions to their profession, industry, or community. I have the honor to present this award to my coworker, my colleague, a magician. I'm not really quite sure what phrase to use. You may know Stephanie Gildone as the Storytime Lady, maybe Billy Beer's owner, an extraordinary woman who has worked for 40 years at the Conneaut Public Library. Maybe she taught you how to read. Maybe she taught your mom how to read. But what she's taught us all is that our children are valued and that our youngest citizens have a voice, and she has an ear to listen. So we know Stephanie for all of these reasons, but what you may not know is that she is considered to be the expert in early childhood literacy in the state of Ohio. And she has literally written the textbooks to teach other librarians all around the state of Ohio how to facilitate a story hour. Stephanie has shared her knowledge with children, parents, our schools, and her colleagues in Ashland County and the state of Ohio. She is extraordinary, and she is magical. But she's also retiring. So would you please maybe consider working another 40 years, Stephanie? The Professional Achievement Award recipient for 2017 is my friend, Stephanie Gildone.
Well, when I found out I was selected for this honor, my first question was, do I have to say anything? Kathy assured me I only had to say thank you. And then right before I was leaving today to get ready to come, she said, have you written your speech? I said, what? You said all I had to do was say thank you. So while I was eating, I just looked down some points. First of all, when I was in kindergarten, my teacher, Mrs. McKee, wrote on one of my report cards that I was always helping other children, and she thought I was going to have a career working with children. She was very intuitive. And I'm eternally thankful to Jim Walters, who was the director when I was hired at the old Conneaut Public Library. He hired me under one condition. In 6 weeks, I had to have a story hour going. Well, I don't know if you know me, but if you challenge me, I will produce. And I'm so thankful that he led me. His hiring led me on this career path. I love my job. It's not a job. Where can you play with puppets, write stories, sing songs? It's just a joy. And also, I work with our most precious resource, our children. In all the years that I've been doing this, I've taken classes. I've gone online and done college classes, and I remember early on I would sit in the audience when I was at a workshop, and I would see presenters, and I would think, oh, I wish I could do that. And one thing I've always told my son, you see it, you believe it, and you can be it. And I live by those words. And in the 40 years that I've been a youth services coordinator, I've probably, along with my assistant Pam Stanonic, we've probably presented 30, 35, maybe more, we've lost count, professional workshops around the state. And because I saw it, I believed it, and I did it. One of the big things I wanted to do was to create warm and fuzzy memories for all the kids that came through the library doors. I wanted to make great big props. I wanted it to be like when they walked in, it was like the most amazing thing they ever saw, so that it would be a memory for them. Whatever community they lived in, they would want to be lifelong library users as well as readers. My most challenging and rewarding years have been since 2009. When Kathy stepped through the door, she has made me a better person. She has made me reach further than I thought I possibly could. She says all the time, you're on the right seat, on the right bus. And I definitely have been on the right seat, on the right bus. I'm thankful to my husband and my son, who are always willing to play the guitar, the mandolin, do whatever I ask them to do, and put up with whenever I've got stuff at home and I'm working till 2 or 3 in the morning doing it. So I just want to say it's been an honor and a privilege to have served probably you and your children, and I'm eternally grateful for Jim Walters for putting me on this path for this career.
President's Award is being presented by Aaron Joslin.
The President's Award is presented to an individual, organization, or business that has exemplified the strategic objective of the Conneaut Area Chamber of Commerce to make Conneaut a better place which to work and live. This year, it is my honor to present the 2017 President's Award to the Break Wall Barbecue. The Break Wall Barbecue opened in June of 2013 on an extremely modest budget. While prior attempts to create a vibrant food and beverage business on the water in Conneaut had been attempted with varied success, in 2013, few anticipated the extent of the current success that the Break Wall Barbecue is seeing today. Those doubters, of course, did not include the founders, Mike Morgan and Gabe Saline. The break wall that you see now is the vision that Mike and Gabe had dreamt up over dinner and a piece of notebook paper in the winter of 2011. I don't know where that dinner occurred, but apparently it did, right? That vision included a traditional barbecue accompanied by unique artisan creations, local favorites, craft beers, and signature cocktails, all served in a trendy lakeside atmosphere with a bohemian sensibility. And I can honestly say this is the first time ever I've described anything as bohemian. So to accept the President's Award on behalf of the Breakwall is co-owners and operators Gabe Salini and Mike Morgan.
Excuse me, we gotta take a selfie.
I don't know about Gabe's family, but my family will never believe it's not a million years.
They're gonna require proof.
Thank you so much. I really don't have a problem talking in front of people. I don't get too nervous. But Gabe gets very nervous when I talk in front of people. So I told him I would keep it humble and I would keep it short. So first of all, I'd like to thank myself and Gabriel for making some outstanding barbecue the last 5 years. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen from Reverend Krause? I guess I get no amen from Reverend Krause, but thank you. That's coming. April 14th will be coming soon enough, but that's when we plan on opening this year. When Gabe and I first went down there, it was a day, actually it was about this time of year 6 years ago, and it was a gray day with gray water and a little gray beige building. It was just a little tiny thing, and I told Gabe, I said, Gabe, can you see it? Can you see what we can do here? I said, I see color, I see music, I see amazing food, I see surrounding ourselves with people we love, I see creating a scene. I said, we can do this. It's like, one of the things that always makes me sad is when people talk down about our town. And I tell people, what are you doing to make it better? Are you making Conneaut a little better place? I said, because Gabe and I are gonna try. We're gonna give it our all. And we sweated, we clawed, we scratched. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but we made a little bit of a change. And I think we made a little bit of it better, and I'm so humbled to get this award. Thank you all so much. And we're gonna keep trying to grow Conneaut and turn it into something I think it can be. A place that people want to move to, a place where people can bring their kids. Again, thank you so much. We do love you.
Thank you so much, Chamber, for this honor. Thank you to all the people of Conneaut for your support. Thank you to my wife, Kristen, without whom this simply would not be possible. And thank you to Mike for being the best partner in the world. Thanks to all the employees at the Breakwall. You know, in January or February of 2014, 4 years ago, I was here in this building not to collect an award. I was not here to speak with Mrs. Kennedy to get licensing to do a catering gig. I was here in an office back there inquiring about assistance to pay my gas and electric bill. But my wife and I and Mike and the team at the Breakwall never gave up. We never stopped believing in what was possible down there in the water. And that's something that I think that not only the folks in this community, but our country and certainly the youth of this country could use a little bit more of. You don't just pack it in when things aren't going your way. It goes back to, you know, when I was a kid at the bus stop getting picked on, or when I was learning how to ice skate, or when I was at football camp trying to fight for a position on the team. And you go back to those times in your mind. And as adults, you know, sometimes we need to have the physical courage that it takes to go a couple weeks eating ramen noodles. to go 18 months without having a cell phone, to forego not just one vacation, but several vacations. Because if you don't have that type of physical courage, if you don't have the courage that it takes to make changes in your life, and if you don't have the courage to live differently, then things are not going to change for you, and they won't change for this community either. My wife and I know this because we lived it. Now, moving forward at the break wall, we plan to continue to stick to our core values. Those core values are this: individuality and authenticity, respect for each other and our customers and our food, responsibility to our community and to the job that we do, teamwork and family. We are a culture-first company, and this is how it works. We take care of our employees first. In turn, our employees take care of the food and our customers, and then the business just takes care of itself. Thank you so much, Chamber. Thank you, people of Conneaut. See you down at the water, April 14th.
And the Legacy Award is being presented by Wendy Dubé.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the award winners tonight, and especially Jade. I want to wish you the best of luck, and I just hope that you're as happy in that chair that I was for 9 years. I'm so happy to be here. The Legacy Award was actually, I'm so glad to see Judge Harrison back there with Lori McLaughlin. It was Lori's idea, and Judge Harris was the first recipient of this award, and it's only been given out one other time since then. It's hard to put into words all the ways Arnie has impacted not only us here in Conneaut, but throughout the state of Ohio and beyond. It all started in 1962 when Arnie and his good friend Tim Hubbard realized they were interested in growing grapes for wine. It wasn't simply as easy as planting a grapevine and waiting for the fruit. To get good grapes along the Lake Erie corridor, one must follow a very scientific plan by researching climate, soil, and distance from the lake. Arnie found the perfect location and was fortunate enough to work for Dr. Konstantin Frank, who is widely considered to be the go-to gold standard for cold climate wine grower. Dr. Frank told Arnie he needed to purchase 100 acres to grow his wine grapes. Arnie purchased the property on South Ridge Road in what was to become Marco Vineyard. Dr. Frank then gave Arnie 500 vines to start growing his wine grapes. He also saw the potential Arnie possessed. Arnie became only one of 12 cooperatives on the East Coast to work with Dr. Frank. During that time, Arnie also worked at Union Carbide and was in the Navy Reserve. I'd also like to thank Arnie for his service. Arnie's wife, Katie, actually I did talk to Arnie today and he wanted me to remember Katie in my speech, so I'd like to bring that up. Arnie's wife, Katie, went along with his plans, but only half-heartedly at first. Katie had her own interests. She was on the school board and also instrumental in the purchase of the former Kilby Hall. She worked with Joan Newcomb to turn the facility into what is today's Conneaut Arts Center. Arnie says his wife worked tirelessly to make Conneaut a better place, but I'm sure if she were here today, she would say the same about him. Most all of us have somehow been touched by Arnie's generosity. He has donated the wine to this event for as many years as I can remember. He's opened up his home to countless organizations to host parties and events. He's a proud Rotarian and rarely misses a meeting. How many Rotarians are in the room tonight? And doesn't Arnie always make it a better meeting when he's there? Today, Arnie shares the secrets to his success with other wine growers. He believes it's important to share information, to taste others' wines, so that all producers get to understand the region better. Arnie's also loved throughout the state of Ohio. He uses wine barrels produced in Ohio to make his Chardonnay. If you've ever been to Marco Vineyards, you've noticed the beloved dogs on the property. One day in 1970, Arnie received a call from Bob Marcy that he had a stray shepherd mix dog needing a home. Arnie took in Kelly, and after years of breeding with AKC registered Old English sheepdogs, the breed, now known as the Marco dog, has become a local legend. There's never a problem finding homes for these adorable creatures. His goal today is to inspire people to take Conneaut where it needs to go. He believes the future is the lake, harbor, and vineyard business. Arnie has been quoted many times saying, "I believe wine to be food, both healthy and nutritious, the beverage of moderation to be consumed with meals but not to be misused." This tradition goes back ages to when bread and wine were staples used as offerings and later sacraments. Arnie also believes we should all do the job the Lord gave us to do, and for that we thank you, Arnie Esther. Please put your hands together for our 2017.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Wendy. So it's got me in tears because I remember Katie. Can't give my speech. Anyway, Greg gave a great speech about Conneaut. I think we should all look to the future, and we understand that, I have my notes here. I think the vineyard can be a long-term economic development project for the city because we have some of the best sites in the state. And so if this business grows and the wine becomes a part of your meal and you enjoyed it, then I think it's very important that we all share it and let people know what Conneaut can do. If you put Conneaut on the map for the future, it will do whatever you want it to do, because if you're behind it, it'll work. If you aren't, well, say goodbye. That wasn't the speech, but I was Conneaut's had this legacy that you can do what you want with it, and I think the vineyards are a demonstration. You have it on the table as wine, and we can share it. Family, friends, and food go together. And thank you. Thank you, Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Conneaut.
Okay, and Tim Kraus, if you would like to come up to present the 2017 Citizen of the Year Award.
Wow, what an evening. At times I thought we were in a revival. We have been lifted, inspired, and given a fresh vision, haven't we? And it's fitting that this is the crowning part, our presentation of Citizen of the Year. I have been saying that throughout this past year, as holding that role, I keep running into people that I thought they deserve it more than I do. Nobody more than Corey Marcy. Can't know. Corey, as you know, is a funeral director and does an outstanding job. She's the co-owner and vice president of Marcy Funeral Home Incorporated, and she's worked for the past 18 years growing into that capacity. In addition to her duties with the funeral home, she is actively involved in this community. And I probably don't even need to say that because you're here as witnesses to that fact. She initiated and heads up the Project Pride program, which has brought beauty and home improvement to our community. She's one of the main organizers of the Conneaut Rotary's Downtown Cleanup program and is diligently working in it herself. And she taps her family on the shoulder and saying, "Come on." Jed, if only you knew what you were getting into. But one of Corey's biggest accomplishments was the formation of Elevation, a grassroots group of school officials, business owners, advocates, and concerned parents that have come together to promote drug awareness. I think I could say for Corey that she got sick and tired of seeing lives devastated by heroin and other drugs. And instead of just wringing her hands, she stepped up and did something about it. And even though she would not call it her group, everyone who is a part of Elevation and everyone who has ever helped in any way know that Corey is the spark plug and the vision. It provides the leadership and the passion behind it. And Corey, for that, we appreciate you so much. There never could be a better legacy than what you're doing with Elevation. She doesn't take credit, she just does what she needs to do. Wendy nominated Corey, and Wendy, I want to thank you for doing that. I want to read a few words that Wendy put in her nomination letter, because it's some of the behind-the-scenes things about Corey that probably you never knew about, and nobody ever would know about, and Corey probably didn't know or anybody told about this, but some years ago, Corey helped a young boy dying from cancer realize his greatest wish, to see John Cena of the WWE perform in Miami. She worked with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and she personally donated much of the money and services herself and through the Marcy Funeral Home. She's also been known to take food and supplies to families in need, or simply to check on a family member because she had a feeling something wasn't quite right. Now, if we could just find a way to clone you. But you know what? I think she represents the spirit of Conneaut. I have long said that I get to associate with the best people in Conneaut, the forward-thinking, the positive ones. Corey, I'm grateful to call you friend, and I'm especially grateful to call you Citizen of the Year. One more thing. In 1963, Corey's grandfather, Robert C. Marcy, was honored with this award. And in 2001, Corey's father, Robert B. Marcy, was Citizen of the Year as well. And Bob, if you'd come forward to present your daughter with this plaque as we congratulate her as Citizen of the Year. Corey, come on.
I was going to try and not be emotional, but we just threw that under the table. Sorry. Thank you, everyone. And congratulations to all the award recipients this evening. I'm proud to be a part of this community. I'm so happy I came back to this community. I'm going to stick to my papers, and I promise there's a lot of papers here, but I made sure it was large print so I could read it. I'm truly humbled to receive such a great award. I found out a little bit about myself after learning I had won this award. My first thought was, what was I going to say? While standing here tonight, I can honestly say I've never thought it would be this hard to say something about myself. so I won't. What I will tell you though is that this award should have many names on it, not just mine. You see, I'm a part of what I consider many different teams. And each team consists of caring and hardworking people like myself that love this community and give back. Some of these teams I have been a part of include this very chamber. Being on the board at one time gave me the opportunity to meet lifelong friends and do things to promote this great community. The Rotary Club that has taught me to put service above self. And our Elevation Drug Awareness Team, which is fighting to help our local community combat the opioid epidemic through education. This team is by far the largest and more than just its members, excuse me. It's the New Leaf Church, the city of Conneaut, our local school district, public officials, the Conneaut Library, many of you locally here who have been part of many of the programs and efforts that we have done to help educate drug awareness to our kids and community. And this team has enabled me to be a part of the Asheville County Drug and Alcohol Prevention Coalition team and also the Substance Abuse Leadership team. There are other teams over the years, and maybe some I have not listed, but my top priority team is my family. This includes work and immediate. Not many can say they are privileged enough to have both side by side. My family team stretches from here all the way to Ackworth, Georgia. I am truly blessed to be following in my father and grandfather's footsteps, being the third and fourth generation funeral directors, and I being the fifth. They both received this award, as Pastor Krause said, my grandfather in 1963, and my dad in 2001. I guess the meaning holds true. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I feel it an honor, especially as we, the Marcy Funeral Home family, celebrates 150 years of serving this community and the surrounding areas. Although I have only been a part of the Marcy Funeral Home team full-time for the last 18 or so years, it is without a doubt we could not provide an outstanding and dedicated service we do without each and every person who has been a part of our work team, now and in prior years. We love each of you and thank you for all you do. And now the most superior team and important team of all, my team. My parents, my siblings, my in-laws, my grandparents, my friends, and my number one, my husband and beautiful children. You see, my team is full of love, hard work, which dealing with me at times can be hard work, and dedication and sacrifice. It would be impossible to be a part of any of these teams I have listed if it weren't for my team. So thank you for all you do. I love you, Chad, Devin, and Colin Michael, which couldn't be here tonight. Little 4-year-old guy wouldn't sit very still very long. And my entire family team, and any team I have ever been a part of. You give me purpose to my days, and a reason to continue to be a better person and make Conneaut a better place. Before I finish, I'd like to thank Wendy Dubé and my Aunt Kathy, who lives all the way in Arizona, for nominating me, and also a very special person who nominated me in the past years, and could not be here this evening, Ms. Sherry Allens. who is Dylan's grandmother, who raised him. She is currently home battling cancer with strength and grace. So I would like to dedicate this moment to you, Sherry. I love you. With peace and love, I leave you with a few sayings. I'm one of these people who love to take screenshots of different motivational sayings I find on Facebook or the internet. And one of our Elevation team members said this one time at a program. Most of you know him, Taylor Cleveland. He said, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And our Elevation, another one, our Elevation motto, know the difference, be the difference. And by Mark Marrow, who with the help, Elevation, the Mental Health and Recovery Board, through group efforts, we'll be bringing Mark Marrow, he's a motivational speaker, to our schools locally in May to talk to kids about bullying, anti-drugs, everything. He just posted yesterday on his Facebook, a good life is when you give more, need less, smile more, dream big, spend time with loved ones, and realize how truly blessed you are. And my all-time favorite, which is kind of a life or a long-time family speech, or saying, I guess you would say, is love can never lose its own. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I truly appreciate it.
We're going to end the night with a little bit of a drawing. Everybody pull out your blue tickets. This is a Dairy Queen cake donated by the Conneaut Dairy Queen. Last three numbers, 190. 190. Oh, Jim Hammond, that's right. It's legit. This is for Little Caesars gift card. Last three numbers, 191. 191. Oh, Barb, okay. It's hard to do any closing remarks after everything we just heard. You know, like Corey, I did find a quote as well. The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. Looking around this room, I see just that. And we have a great community. Thank you for attending tonight. And I look forward to serving you all as president this year. Thank you.